Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. Got the 2012 Chevrolet. It's the Cruze. It's got the big 1.4 turbo. And the customer complaint on this one is the battery's dead when she goes to start it in the morning. Not plumb dead, but dead enough where it won't crank. She has to jump it and does it day after day after day. When she made her appointment, the guy she was here with, I asked him, I was like, were you comfortable unhooking the battery? And they were, so I had them unhook the battery each night instead of jump start. You got to pop the hood to jump it or pop the hood to hook the battery up. So they did that, and then they haven't been having any problems. So they go home, unhook the negative battery, and next morning hook it up. Bada bing, bada boom. I see a lot of Chevy Cruzes naturally, but usually not for this issue. So I don't know what's common on these. And so I thought I'd just kind of go through it here before we got started, just see if it's something, something stupid, something aftermarket thing plugged in here or something. But nothing in the fuse box has any voltage drop across any of the fuses. So I'm like, all right, well, it's looking like it might get interesting, so let me show you where I'm at. Any of you that are a longtime viewer of the SMA channel, you know that we are an advocate of putting a meter, oops, not this one, let me move this out of the way, putting a meter in line. As opposed to using a current clamp, because this is way more accurate. That's undisputable, and it's just straight fact. So this one's drawing 390 some milliamps, so we'll call it 400 milliamps. And it's been turned off, we'll say turned off with our little claw fingers, for 26 minutes. And we've stayed steady there. At the 10-minute mark, though, it went from 700 and some and dropped down to this range here. So it took about 10 minutes to time out, or so it seems. Then I went through using a voltmeter, just a plain old voltmeter, millivolt scale, and you measure voltage drop across the fuse. If there's any current flowing through the fuse, there's going to be voltage drop. There's always voltage drop on any connection, any relay, any fuse, any switch, anything in the circuit. There's always voltage drop across it. So nothing, zero, zippo. I see this fuse was broke when it came in, so don't get all judgy. So I'm like, well, that's weird. So I said, well, the heck with it. I unhooked the battery terminal, or the battery cable that runs this fuse box. Completely took it off. Same thing. Current draw stayed at 390 milliamps. So I'm like, well, shoot, I should have done that first, but I didn't want things to wake back up. But that proved that my meter was correct, and there is no draw coming from any circuit that comes out of this box, so that eliminates a lot. At that point, I still had 13 mil in my fingers, so I unhooked this one, assuming this probably goes as starter, probably not the alternator. I thought maybe it went to the alternator. Unhooked this cable, still, no change. So needless to say, the only place that the current draw can be coming from is one of these three terminals here. There's two 100 amp fuses and an 80 amp. So one of them is probably the alternator, and one of the other two are something else. And I don't know what. Don't know, don't care. At least at this point we don't. So let's stick this thing back on here. I think she's been meddled with a few times. Let's get our meter set up. Anyways, I saved you guys a whole bunch of sitting around waiting. Let me put my glasses on so you can see. So this is a 100 amp fuse here. Does not appear to be the correct battery. Okay, let's go to Honest Town. This is how this thing looked when it came in. We're gonna unhook this first 100 amper here, see if we get any change. Ooh, amperage draw is increasing there slightly, but now you're saying, hey there, Rocco, couldn't you just stick a current clamp on one of those three legs and figure out which one? You're darn tootin' I could. You would be correct. That would be one way to accomplish this. No change. 398 milliamps, no change. This is the other 100 amp fuse here. Uh-oh. Let's hook this one back up. Things are not looking happy with us right now. Oh. We'll hook this one back up. We'll finish unhooking this one. This might just feed an interior fuse box or something. I doubt it though, not with 100 amps. Okay, now we're down to 50 milliamps. So this was the source of a lot of our draw. Granted, we had, okay, so now we're down to 6, okay? There we go. She just needs to leave that cable unhooked and life will be good for her, and that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good day. No, that's not right. We need to look now at power distribution diagram and say, what in the world does that thing run? Because look, it's clearly fixed, 6 milliamps. That's great. That's really good. That's as good as it gets. I'm gonna look on a diagram. We're gonna see what this feeds. Hopefully it's just the alternator. That would be awesome to see just a crappy alternator. I haven't seen that in a really, really long time. But that would be wonderful, because then we don't have to search anymore. So let's look. So if you look on this plate, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're labeled there, so that should be fuse 1, 2, 3, and 4. Probably not gonna be correct on Mitchell. So 100 amp, so we got a 250, a 250, 100, 180, 80. I popped up the distribution diagram here. Oh yeah, they might be right. So they show fuse 3, 6, and 5. So let me look for wherever the rest of this junction box is. Probably diagram 3 of 4, I'm guessing. Diagram 3 of 4, we were correct. This sucks. Fuse number 2, 100 ampere. It does feed the interior fuse box, which I'm surprised, but so it feeds all of these fuses and then a whole bunch more. Okay, our journey continues. At least we know we're not looking at anything under the hood. However, we're looking at just this circuit, which, like I say, includes probably all the interior fuses. So I'm going to carry on my process on the inside and we'll find out which circuit's drawing current here. Printed this out, the diagram, not as many fuses as I thought. Fuse number 2, 100 amp, that's the one we know has current going across it. It feeds these little guys, which primarily feed the body module and the blower motor control module. All right, then they go to diagram E, like echo, which comes over here, which goes through the wrap. That's the retained accessory power. And if for some reason that relay was latched on, which would be a whole nother problem of itself, it would power these 2 fuses, which is unlikely, but possible. So, what we need to do now is wait, first of all, because we've disrupted power. I've hooked power back up, and I've got it running back through our meter, and I know it takes about 10 minutes because I wrote it on my board back when it initially happened, and then we'll check with the meter here in about 10 minutes. In the meantime, prepare your car by opening the doors, latching the latches so it thinks it's closed. And that's what we did. We opened all the doors because we don't know where we're going to have to go. We know we have to get to the interior fuse box and then go from there. This is part of some hindsight. Let me share some things with you while I'm waiting. It's super easy to look at somebody diagging a car when you know the end result. You look back and say, well, this guy's an idiot. He should have started with the carburetor, you know, or whatever. In this case, you know, what could you have done to be more efficient? A, make sure the battery's charged up. Like I pulled this car in last night knowing that she had an issue, unhooked the battery, charged the battery. So we're not fooling with a dead battery. Second of all, what could you have done? You could have hooked the negative back up, no meter in line. Waited, you know, 30 minutes while you're out, you know, fixing another car, come in here with a current clamp, slap a current clamp around, you know, the negative leads, see what the current draw is. And then a car like this where you're set up with 4 or 5 individual power leads, clamp on each one of those and see which one of them has the same current draw as the negative side, thereby identifying which circuit the current's leaving the battery on, or technically coming back to the battery if you're on the positive side. Let that sink in for a little bit. And then from there, you could look at a diagram and say, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going right to this circuit. All right, hindsight's always 20/20. That's how you could have shortcut this process a little bit. But either way, we're 30 minutes into it. We're sitting around waiting to 10. We got a plan. Not looking good for that body module is my thinking. Wish I would have hooked scan tool to it to see if there was any codes in anything. Sometimes there'll be some weird codes in the body module that could lead us down the right direction. But if we get to where one of those power leads, there's 4 of them that go to the body module, if any of those four are drawing current, then that would be our next step is, you know, is the body module throwing any codes, having any weird stuff. I don't like it when if that is the body module, because there are the possibility of funky inputs keeping this thing alive. Not sure. Just waiting right now. The other question you'll see in that comment section is, why don't you use a thermal imaging camera? Because they don't work. I don't know what to tell you, man. I've tried it numerous times. They will work if the current draw is large. You know, if there's like a 1 or 2 amp current draw, you got a wiper motor that's shorted out in the back tailgate, you got a cluster that won't turn off, it's drawing 1.5 amps, a radio that's drawing over 1 amp, something like that. But the fact of the matter is, if I leave the car inside, I've got to leave the furnace off. They're very, very sensitive. Or I have to leave the car outside, leave a charger on it, you know, do it before the sun comes up. The sun comes up, starts reflecting on it. It's just more difficult for me to use one. Have I used it? Yes. Have I been successful with it? Yes, but very limited times. That would be my answer to you. Let's see. This fuse box here says it is left end of dash instrument panel fuse box, behind left end of dash. I'm going to find it while we're waiting. I'm going to identify these fuses, see where they're at. And then this one says behind left end of dash. Okay, so all of our fuses are in the same fuse panel. Let's find it. And let's get after it, boys and girl. Got you wedged down in the seat there. Little fuse symbol here. It's got disturbance in the dust. Somebody's been here. You been here before, boy? Fuses are up in this joint. Alrighty. Just trying to think here. Do we got? Let's make sure all the legends match. OnStar. Number 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay. So we are labeled here. I'll put that there where you can't see it. Okay. As well as up in here where you can't see. Huh? Good quality production. Let me grab our meters and see where we're at, see if we've waited long enough, and then we'll, I don't know, might be plucking fuses as opposed to trying to get up in here with the meter. Problem is with that though, you restart that BCM if that's it. I'm just guessing, I'm being very cynical. If that's it, you unplug it, plug her up, and then we're waiting another 10 minutes. Stand by. Grab our meter, we'll scroll down to amps internal. Survey says, okay, we're back to where we started, 300 and whatever, 400 milliamps, 470, kind of bouncy. I don't know how long it's been. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think we caught it just right where it's turning off. Interesting. So we're about 400 milliamps, which is where we started, but did it just, okay. Yeah, because it starts out in the 700s, takes some time to come back down. I think what we'll do, I usually like to have it on graphing, I'm not gonna lie, because sometimes you catch some weird stuff going on there that you won't in this mode, but I think what we'll do is we'll put it in big screen here because it's easier for you folks to see. I'll try to set it up where you can't see it anyways. I have no idea if you can see that, and we'll go grab the other meter. And I lied to you yet again, we're not grabbing the other meter. We're gonna pull the fuses that are least likely. So fuse 11 runs the blower motor control module. What a liar. Oh, that's a big honker. That's a 40. Oh, yep. Would you look at that? Okay. Fuse 11. Big jabroni. No change. Okay. Fuse number 16 goes to the rear compartment release. We're going to grab that because we doubt, ooh, I don't know, that's got an aftermarket fuse in it. Aftermarket fuse. So it's had an issue at some point, but clearly not our issue. That's number 16. And then the other ones after the wrap, number 6 and number 7, both running, one running the cigar outlet for the cigar smokers here, and the other running the accessory power rear console receptacle. Fuse number 6 and fuse number 7 which we know these can't be it because we would have some other big issues. We would have a relay that would have to be latched on, as well as something plugged into the accessories. Okay, so I've removed both of those, no change. So what does that tell us, folks? That tells us we only have 4 fuses left on this circuit, all of which power the body control module. Fuse 3, 8, 9, and 10. Huh? Which one's it gonna be, son? Should we pull them or should we get a meter? Pull up. Okay, we'll pull them. Fuse number 3, this one's been fiddled with before. It is not fuse number 3. What was the other one? 8, 9. Here's fuse number 8. 1, 2, pull. Not fuse number 8. It's gonna be the last fuse, isn't it? Here's fuse number 9. Oh, maybe I'm dead wrong. Here's fuse number 10. After I find it. Oh, fuse number 10's a big jabroni. 25 amp. According to my diagram, no. Fuse number 10 is 30 amp, which is what's in here. You ready? 1, 2, 3, pull. What the What this ain't making sense, also. Did we pull 16? We did. What the heck? We've pulled every fuse that supposedly runs it, that powers this circuit. This isn't making sense in my life. 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16. What's rule number 1 at the South Main Auto Channel? Never trust factory service data. Ever in your life. Never trust factory service data. So chances are we have bad data. Frig! I don't want to do this the old-fashioned way. Alright, let me go look up a factory diagram because something's clearly wrong here, because we pulled every fuse that's allegedly powered by fuse number 2 100 amp from under the hood. Red with dark green. Let me just go make sure that is a red with dark green wire, because according to diagram it is. Let me go look real quick. You guys stay right there. Don't move. Red with dark green. Frickin' Mitchell on demand. I tell you what, I'm so frickin' sick of paying for that damn program. It's not red with dark green. It's frickin' red with yellow, which is actually fuse number 1. Frickin' hate service data. Here's an advertisement for you. Go buy all data. Screw Mitchell on demand. Number 2, okay. Also, number 2 written on the stud, or on the 1, 2, and 3. They're labeled on the wires, okay. I don't know if you guys can see it with the reflection, but they say 1, 2, and 3. You can't mess them up. Number 1. Oh, is that red with green? Number 2. Red with yellow? Number 3. We don't care. You come up here, number 2, red with green. Friggity friggers. So now we've got all this crap to look at. Let's redo. Let's go to plan B. This is how the cookie crumbles, folks. Every day you pay hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for service info. And you guys think I joke when I say rule number 1, never trust service info. Well, guess what? It's rule number 1, never trust service info. It's always frickin' wrong. You need to calm down, dude. It's only Tuesday. All right, let's calm down here. Okay. I got this thing fired back up. All right, here we are. I've got us a new updated diagram, which this has a whole lot more fuses that it runs. I think what we're going to elect to do, if and it were me, and it is, so I get to call the shots. I'm just gonna not try to get my fat fingers up in there. All right, fuse 15 runs the inflatable restraint sensing diagnostic module, or the SDM as GM likes to call it, or the airbag module. So fuse 15, and then 25 runs the steering column control module, steering column lock control module. So we're gonna pull 15 and 25. All right, here we go, number 15, pulling. No change. Plug that back up. Plug it up. Oh Guide me in, baby. Where are you? Come on. There we go. 15. Numero 25O. We do not have. Okay, so we're not equipped with that module. And then we're back to the body module. Fuse number 23 and 24 both run the body module. Fuse 23, which is this one. Say what? Nothing. And fuse 24, which is also nothing. Good. So at least we're not looking at the body module for some silly input that's keeping it alive. So, well, so far I shouldn't say that. Then we have fuse number 14, which runs the DLC, or for you older folks, your ALDL. Anybody remember the ALDL, your assembly line data link? Long before we called it the DLC. Not to be confused with the band TLC. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Let's see, fuse 21 and 17. Fuse 21 runs the cluster, which is this one. Negative Ghost Rider, no change there. You mother lover, we better be able to find this because we're running out here. Fuse number 17 runs HVAC controls and switches. I might better just gone through and just ripped out all the fuses here. That's fuse 17. In and out, no change. Bumped it up a little bit. That's the chance you take. Driver seat adjuster switch. I don't think it's going to have these. Circuit breaker 13 and 12. It has a circuit breaker for 13, but it says not used. Interesting. Let's pull it out because we've seen weird things happen before. And no change there. Why would they have a circuit breaker in there that just says not used? Okay, so we're just about out. We have fuse number 22 that just goes to the ignition switch diagram, which I did not print. Let's pull fuse number 22. Everybody hold your breath because we're running out. Wait a minute, that says, is that really a 2 amp? It is a 2 amp. Fuse number 22, 2 amp. What in the frickin' flippity flip flap could be going on here? Okay, I understand our current draw is still high from when we pulled that HVAC fuse, but I'm not super concerned about it. The only other thing that runs off from this is 2 power wires come down non-fused, and they go to the auxiliary power relay as well as the battery saver relay. Ironic. And they are in the left end instrument panel fuse block. Okay, so, oh gosh. They're way the frig up there where I can't get to them. All right, let me figure out the other part of this plan here. We gotta, okay, so it shows our relays, power outlet relay, logistic mode relay. Let me figure out what's what here and what's the most easiest thing to do here, the most feasible option. I just can't imagine we have a relay that's stuck on. But we've removed, use your words, every highlighted fuse on here, which is associated with our red and yellow wire. Frickin' service data better not be sent. You know what this ding dong should do? We should go get a factory wire diagram. Okay, so we're back to our 400. That's from pulling our HVAC fuse. Sorry to waste your time, folks. We'll keep on keeping on here. Stand by. So here's what I'm thinking. Let me include you into my thought process, or the process for our Canadian viewers. You know what that's about if you're listening, okay? So we've determined that fuse number 2 is actually fuse number 1, red, yellow. Pulled it. We pulled all of those fuses and there was no change. So what's that leave us with? Well, it leaves us with this circuit here. Red with dark green comes down, goes to the auxiliary power relay. Okay, so this relay would have to be latched, all right, and then it would have to be feeding power. So you could have a draw from it being latched, which 400 milliamps, yeah, probably a little too high for the control side of a relay, depending on what kind of relay it is. And then that goes to G unit, and G comes down to here, which would go over and feed the same fuses that the wrap fuse fit, which we've already pulled fuse 6 and 7. There was no change, so I'm not concerned with that circuit, unless for some odd chance the relay was latched, which I doubt, which doesn't make sense, because if the relay was latched, we wouldn't see that current draw, because that comes from a different circuit. That would have to come from the body module. We would have had power draw on one of the body module fuses. We're not concerned with this, long story short. However, this wire comes down. This wire comes down, goes to the auxiliary power relay, which we've determined we are not concerned with based on logic. It also comes here and goes to this battery saver relay. We can be concerned with this. Info not available, so we don't know what it takes to turn this saver relay on. But we know if indeed it was on, it comes down and feeds fuse 1, fuse 4, and fuse 5. Now this relay, I haven't looked to see where it lives, but looking up in this hole, there's relays at the top of this thing that are covered up by some plastic thing, which I'm not really willing to go digging into. So I say we pull fuse 1, 4, and 5 and see if there's a change. If there is, you know, then we'll be like what? And we'll look at something else. You guys can kind of see that down there. Let's try to keep you where you're at. There we go. And I said fuse 1, fuse 4, and fuse 5. It feeds the telematics communication interface control module, you know, because every car needs one of those. A radio controls, and a whole bunch of other crap. What's up, Miss O? We're frustrated. We're saying friggity frigger today.
Yeah?
What's up?
I gotta run this over to the school real quick. It's only taking a minute.
Go ahead. We'll answer the phone and talk to customers.
You can,
We're already...
You can ignore everything.
I do. We're already pumped. We're pumped.
Well, it's just the second
We're trying to keep it PG and not say nasty things on the internet. Fuse 1, 4, and 5. All right. Quick like a bunny.
What?
Quick like a bunny.
Let me quick.
Okay. All right. Fuse number 5 right here, 7.5 amps. No change. Fuse number 4, which is 20 amps. No change. Give it a little bumpity bump there. I already forgot. Fuse 5, fuse 4, fuse numero uno. 10 amp. Oops, mess. Swing and a miss. Are you kidding me? Last fuse. Let's see what this thing runs. Alright, had talked with the customer there. So, did a little poking on the service data, which we know we can't trust. Trying to find theory and operation on this battery saver relay, because the only way that we can have current draw to the VCM, or yeah, the telematics communication interface module, which I believe is the OnStar, that I did not look up, but I think that's what it is that relay would have to be active. Okay, so this car's turned off, and I couldn't find anything on the theory and operation. When does the battery saver relay turn on and off? I did find that the body module controls it, so that's something. So at any rate, you know, those fuses have to be hot. I would assume at this point, you know, I mean, this car's been turned off a long time. I would assume that would all have to be turned off. Why would it leave that portion on? I don't know. Maybe it's working exactly as intended, but there is something wrong in that VCIM. At this point, I believe we're probably wasting our time. I would be willing to bet that our customer would say, well, just leave that fuse out. I don't use, never will use, and haven't used OnStar. That's going to be my big fat guess, but we're going to take it just one little tiny step further, just because we are on the internet. I did learn that this fuse box pulls down, so I'm all trash talking, Chevy, you suck, which, you know, they do. We know that. Here's our relays, and I looked at a diagram, and it's this middle one, relay numero 20. So we're going to stick fuse number 1 back in there. And we're back to 300 and whatever amps. So we're back to our 390 milliamps. We're going to remove the relay, which should kill this draw. Mother lover. And we don't know, is this relay latched accidentally or not accidentally? Like, is it broke? You ain't messing with no broke. Whoa, that lit stuff up. That would tell me, what does that tell me? Because what does this turn on again? Radio controls, multimedia interface, info display module, rear park assist if it has it, and telematics. I want to see if this relay is latched. Is it broke? We could probably just grab another relay. Probably not. Well, I'm going to see if the load side of this relay is latched on, if these two are just latched. And 'cause I'm not understanding what in the world's going on here. 3 and 5. Okay, let me figure this out, see if this thing, because this is kind of an odd relay and an odd diagram I don't quite understand. Let me look into this. So here's what I'm seeing. If you look, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but it appears that it has 2 controls. Control 1 and control 2. So it appears that pin 6 is a ground, and that pin 1 and pin 2 could both turn the relay on. What is it with us coming across weird relays now? And then pin 3 and 5 are going to be the load side, which I assume are the big terminals. Oh, don't have to assume, dude. You can see it. 3 and 5 are the big terminals. They're, yeah, 6 is in the, you got 1, 6, and 2, and then 3 and 5. So, in theory, set up our little meter here. You guys probably can't see that. Open, it says open. So pin 3 and 5 should be open circuited right now because the relay's not turned on unless it's physically stuck, which this is probably electronic relay. I don't know if this is a mechanical relay or not. Okay, so we're on pin 3. Find our other lead here. 5 should be open. Oh, it's not. 0.8 ohms. That tells me that the relay is latched. And that is this lady's problem. Let's pop it open, see if it says up here, latching. I don't know what that means. According to the diagram, it has 2 control sides and is normally open. And according to this diagram, it is, according to the one on the relay here, it is also normally open. I wonder if I can Google that part number. It's just weird. It says latching relay. I don't know. High power. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, but I'm going to trust the diagram and assume that it has 2 different control wires for whatever reason, and then it is normally open, which 3 and 5 should be open. So if this is mechanical and we pop it open, we should see the contacts burnt together. Oops. Let's just pretend we didn't see that. Oops. 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 Hey-o! And it's your classic relay inside of a relay. So that is no good. It's a hella relay, hella bad. There is some corrosion on the board, not much. So not much that we can do, folks. We can wiggle it apart. Ooh, wow. Wow. It's got some beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, digital stuff happening there. All right, big fat ol' waste of time. I don't have one of these. I'm gonna Google this number, see what we can learn. So I just looked it up from GM, $87.72 from your Chevrolet dealer, and it is referred to as relay green. Well, you got that right, so we looked up the right number. Not available though from GM, so. But when they did have it, it was $3 less than if you got it at Napper. Granted, I see all of you have gone on the Google machine and found it on Amazon for a nickel. I don't feel like waiting, nor would I trust the 5-cent relay. So let's see what I want to do, because we're still within this lady's budget of time. Stand by. We're gonna head down to Wilbert's U-Pull to Bath. Not a sponsor. Kinda are. They gave me a shirt. It's got my name on it. I don't know if that's gonna get us in for free. We're gonna take the meter and a pair of pliers. And what we're looking for is a relay that's not latched. I'm gonna take the little clip-on leads here. And as you can see, like I say, this one is at 0 point some odd ohms. When we would expect it to be open, okay? At least if our diagram and stuff's right. If we go there and we check 2 or 3 of them and they're all latched, well, either we have insanely bad luck or there's something not right in the diagram. Let's rock and roll, boys. It's a little bit slick out here. This is all solid ice. We gotta head down to the end. We're gonna migrate over here to the rocks. Whew. Everything's pretty slippery. We gotta go to rows 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They have a ton of these Chevy Cruzes, as you would expect. Alright, we're on a good ground here. Row 1 and 2. Looks like they cleaned a lot of cars out of row 2 here. That thing, that's a Cavalier, ain't it? Cavalier. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. This is sketchy. It's a 14 Chevy. I don't know if these things are the same. Oh, somebody's already got her opened up here. That's got the stick. Browning seat covers. Let me see. Stand by. I'll tell you what, I need me a floor mat to lean on. Alright, let's see what we have here, boys. Friggity friggle, it's gone. Dang it. Maybe this one doesn't have it. Shit, this is a 14. They got some 11s. They don't have any 12s. All right, let's scoot over to row 3, see what we find over there. I'm walking like this. This is solid ice, dude. Whee! And it's everywhere, the entire yard. Okay. See you guys in 20 minutes. I just walked by a 2016, looked at that, no relay in that, so let's see if we can find us an older one here. Here's a 2011 Chevy. Whoa, what happened there? Right. Oh, good, still open. Oh, nasty. Alright, no floor mat in this one, so it'll just work quick. Everything's frozen. Come on, big money, no whammies. There it is. Yes. So it must be they discontinued that relay or relocated it on a later model. Ow, got my finger, you peckerhead. There we go. 116, same number. All right, place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Survey says, is that normally open, normally closed, or we got another bad relay? This relay is exactly the same as the one that we have. Here's another 2011. We'll check this one. If this one's latched, then we're going to have to assume that the diagrams are wrong. Even the diagram on the relay itself is wrong. Suppose we could probably find some engineering paper on it to see how it works for real. Come on, get down here. Get down here and don't hurt my fingers. We're going to have to take one of the relays anyways, because we destroyed that one that we have. Okay, so there's this one. You mother. Oh, never mind. Don't get all nasty there. I thought the battery was dead. Latch onto that. I'm assuming it's going to be latched. Yep, it is. Frig! Gosh, I hate service data. Why does it show it as being normally open when it's not? I suppose we could have done something like this prior to going to the Wilberts. I'm all depressed now. Hate being depressed. All right, take our broken relay. We're gonna latch, we're gonna, go across the load side, which we already know, unless we have 3 back relays in a row, is normally closed. So you can see there on the meter, you probably can't see, but it's closed. And from our diagram, it appears we have 2 controls here. We got continuity there and there. Let's see if when we energize it, if it goes open. Oh, look at that. Open circuit. Oh, it's latching in the sense it frickin' latches itself open. Because now it's open. Now it's closed. Oops. Now it's short-circuited. Oh, that's what it means. See, here's a guy who never took any electronics classes, so I didn't know what it meant that it's latching. It stays in whatever position it's commanded to. That's neat. I didn't know that, but that's obviously what it does. So let's turn the relay on. Oops, we're already latched open, so let's latch it closed. That latches it closed. That latches it open. Look at that. I'll be dipped. Isn't that a neato thing? That's probably why it says latching. It's ignorance, folks. This is ignorance which has got me into this situation. So it's probably working as designed. That's neat. I didn't know they made relays like that. A latching relay that has a load side, and then it has basically an on and off switch, and it stays in whatever position it's put in. So it has 2 control wires basically, but when you turn it on, it either stays on, or when you turn it off, it stays off without any other input. Neato, man. Neato. That's kind of cool. Let's stuff this back in there, pull the fuse out of our OnStar and move on with our life. But we learned something. We could go in the body module and we could figure out, is this being commanded on? Because according to service data, we can see that. Battery saver relay inactive or active. We can look at that. But again, that's neither here nor there, just because let's say there is something goofy in one of those systems that's turning this on when it's not supposed to be on. At the end of the day, it's not going to get fixed. Okay, we're going to, like I say, we can simply pull the fuse out of the OnStar and move on with our life. So, but we learned something. We learned that Eric likes to waste time and that he doesn't know how certain things work. And then we figured it out, but we could have figured this out before we went to Wilbert's. But we got to go outside, get a little sunshine, and we didn't fall on the ice. I know you can't see it, but this is looking at what the body module PIDs are. So it shows disable battery saver relay command and enable battery saver relay command. Either shows inactive or active. Looking at that should have been a clue to me, but we go too fast. Sometimes you got to slow down to go fast. That should have been a clue to me to say, wait a minute, disable and enable. I still probably wouldn't have picked up on it, but hindsight being what it is, it makes sense now. One's a disable circuit and one of these is an enable circuit. And I have yet to be able to find the theory in operation as far as when does it turn it on versus turn it off. So pretty cool though. And because I can't leave well enough alone, looking at more information here on the battery saver relay, because I want to understand it. If there was a problem on this, on the primary side or the secondary side, I guess they'll call it, of any of these controls being open, shorted to ground, shorted to power, or open circuited, it'll set a code for both of these or either one of them. It monitors both sides of that circuit, and if it's not correct, it will set a code for it. I would be curious to know if there's a code in the body module. I've gone way too far. I'm in too deep. Well, at any rate, customer doesn't want to go any further with it, which is what I expected. I'm just going to stick this relay back in there. Brief overview on the telematics communication module. It is the OnStar. It's for the GPS and cellular data. We're going to take and just pull that fuse back out of numero uno there, and fix all of her problems. So no subscription to OnStar, obviously. And you know, not ragging on this lady or anything. I wouldn't fix it either, but you know, when I was looking at the theory and operation on telematics, it receives full-time power, which would make sense that this relay would have to be on then. So I'm not going to look any further into that, but just kind of curious. And now we understand what a latching relay is. I feel like an idiot. Probably a little bit of time on Google would have done that, but who remembers stuff if you don't learn it the hard way? It's kind of the story of my life. When you're self-taught, this is how you learn. And now we know what a latching relay is. I'm going to let this sit in timeout and just verify. I should go sit in timeout myself and just verify that our current draw is good down to I think it was like 9 milliamps. Some of this stuff I would like to look into further, but let's be honest, at the end of the day, we're just wasting time at this point. Our current draw, I think, is going to be high right now. Oh, no, it's not, because all the modules stayed timed out. So that's good. Let me back out of this screen, get a screen that you guys can see. And we'll see. Confirmed fix, we are at a 9 to 12 milliamp draw. It bumps up to 12 every time the little security LED flashes up on the dash. So that's it. Car's fixed. Well, fixed, we'll say. Fixed enough for a 2012 Chevy Cruze in New York State. That's it. Well, despite feeling like a ding-dong for not understanding a latching relay, probably basic electronics 101, yada yada, we'll read about it in the comment section of, I can't believe you didn't know this, you're an idiot. Let's put this into perspective. 25 plus years working on cars, first time I've ever ran across a latching relay that I recall. So, how common are they? They're that common, at least in the automotive world. Nothing I've ran across before. So my first time, you're my first time, baby. And what are you gonna do about it? Live and learn, move on. Sometimes you look like a ding dong, sometimes you don't. At the end of the day, the lady's car is fixed. We'll use that term loosely because it's not, but it is. And at some point, you know, you have to draw the line. And this is where we draw the line in New York State on a car that's sold. She's crusty. Probably doesn't have much time left in it. And the girl's not going to put a ton of money into it. Why would you bother fixing, you know, whatever's going on with the OnStar? Is the backup battery in it bad? Could be. Does the backup battery charge off of this circuit? I don't know. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day because the whole system doesn't work anyways. It is what it is. Customer's choice. That's why I call it. Anyways, go down there. Call me something in the comments section for not knowing what I'm doing. But we did use logic to find out where the problem was going, so you got to give me that. Insty, Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.